Hi Jane, welcome to the Community Living Golf event. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play through a few times. We'll go ahead and put you back in your dress position, and we'll take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your setup, first thing we're going to do is just take a look at your posture. We can see that your lower spine is relatively straight here and on a tilt. Your upper back gets a little bit rounded, which is okay. Your legs come down into a nicely unlocked position. Your arms then hang down off that tilted spine, and then the golf club works out to the ball. If I were going to work on your golf game, I would refine your setup here a little bit. I would get you to push your tail out and up a little bit more, push your sternum out and up a little bit more as well. And ideally what that's going to do, it's going to create a little bit more of an angle to your spine and put you a little bit more into your golf ball. We could probably have you set up with your knees a little less bent than they are so that they're just unlocked, and then from there we can let the arms hang down a little straighter and then out to the golf ball. So increasing the angle relationship between the arms and the golf club here, but sort of taking you from this tall lower back position into something that has a little bit more angle to it, and into a position where perhaps we're a little bit more into our golf shot per se. And this is also going to back you away from the ball a little bit. It'll change your balance and your distance away. Right now you're a little too tall, you're a little too close, and that's going to inhibit your ability through impact to really pass through the golf ball athletically. It's going to put you in a little bit more of a position like you know, a batter who sort of gets fooled by an inside pitch, and we sort of get into this sort of jammed type of looking position, and we're going to see that with your impact position. Let's go ahead and clear this off the screen. We'll go ahead and do a little split screen comparison here between you and Chellick Choi. Now we got some lines up on the screen here. This is just help us visually understand how the golf club is supposed to be moving relative to swing plane. Again, you can see with Chellick Choi that her spine's a little straighter, her sternum's a little bit more into the golf ball, her weight's a little bit more, let's say, center of gravity forward, where yours is back on your heels, and you can see she's a little further away from the golf ball. As she initiates her takeaway, we can see that she's going to create good shoulder rotation, which is going to draw the arms and hands back, ultimately bringing the golf club back and bringing the club back along this red line. That simply means the club is coming back on our proper swing plane. She's going to continue with her turn. She's going to start to establish good wrist hinge into play, which is going to take the club head right now from being below her hands to being above her hands, all the while staying on the red line. From here, she's going to continue with her turn, working the club from red up to yellow. When we finally set the club at the top of the backswing, the left arm is going to be situated on the yellow line, and the club shaft is going to be within the blue-yellow V zone, all the while keeping that club shaft just a little closer to the yellow line than to the blue. We have full shoulder rotation. We do this about a very stable right leg, keeping all the weight on the inside part of our right foot. As we go ahead and watch you initiate your takeaway here, you draw your hands back so your shoulders are kicking in, which is good. We do see that there's no forearm rotation at all, so the club face isn't opening up, the wrists are staying considerably stiff with the golf club. We want a little bit more forearm rotation, and we want to learn how to create a little bit better hinge. So right now the club face is staying very, very closed, and we're not really creating a lot of wrist hinge at all to the top of the backswing. When you finally get to the top here, you let your wrists sort of loosen up a little bit there, trying to get a little excess wrist hinge, which is good. We can see at the top of your backswing you have good shoulder rotation, stable right side, so all that looks wonderful. You've rotated off of your posture. You've actually maybe increased the angle. So notice you started a little taller, and now you've dove down into the ball a little bit, so why not start there? At this point in time, we want to take a look at the downswing. We can see with Chellick Choi that she's simply going to drive her weight from her right foot to her left, fire the knees and the hips to the target, unwind the core and fire the hands, and in doing so we need to bring the golf club from yellow back down on top of red, and that's exactly what we see here with the club head returning right back to being on plane. The other thing we want to point out at this point in time is the relationship between the lead forearm and the golf club. We can see that it's creating what I refer to as a backwards check mark, which means we're retaining angle coming into the hitting zone. This is going to allow us to create a lot of power in our golf swing, let alone getting the club to return back to plane as we already pointed out. With you as you initiate your transition back into the ball, great dropping of your hands and arms there. That's excellent. As we continue to move, unfortunately right about here you start pushing your hands a little bit out in front of you, and you can see that the club shaft is too steep. So the club is not on the same angle as the red line or the yellow line, and we can also see, because the hands have moved out in front of you, that club head is having a very difficult time returning back to plane, back to the red line. So if we track your club head coming, well, right there you really fight to keep the club head back. That's wonderful. Unfortunately, your hands and arms have moved too far out in this direction, so you're probably not going to win the battle on keeping the club head above and behind, but your subconscious is certainly telling you that that's where the club has to be to create power. Let's go to the, so we can see here you have the backwards check mark, but your club head has not returned back to the red line. Okay, as we continue to move down, we go to the next frame. Club is still working to stay in behind, and if we were to connect those dots, basically that's your descending plane back into the ball. The club has never returned back to the red line, and is ultimately coming into the ball a little bit too steep, and therefore a little bit from what's referred to as outside to inside. With Chella Choi, we can see that her club's coming into the ball from that red line, or actually in her case it falls slightly underneath the red line. That just simply means she's attacking the ball a little too far from the inside, but anything just slightly underneath the red line, if it's not completely on it, is better than being over the top and from the outside. Okay, we can go ahead and clear this stuff off the screen. At this point in time, we can take a look at the path of the club. We can see with Chella Choi, her club is inside the ball. The club then expands out to make contact and moves through on a nice natural subtle arc. With you, your club is stuck directly behind the ball or slightly outside. It then drops down and across, and you're really fighting to pull that in. The other thing too is look how jammed up you are. So if you remember when we went back to the address position, I mentioned that your distance away from the ball wanted to be a little bit further away, a little bit more athletic ready, a little bit more on the balls of the feet. So we can see a little bit of a jammed position where, again, Chella looks like she's still into the golf shot, and you look like you're sort of jammed and pulling away, again, like that baseball batter who has to check their swing. Okay, as we move through, it looks like you got good footwork at this point in time. We can see with Chella Choi that her right heel is going to continue to come off the ground as she carries her golf swing through to the finish. As that right heel comes off the ground up on the toe of the right foot, that allows all our weight to get to our left side, allows our hips to square around and our shoulders to fully rotate through to the finish. With you as you move through, excellent athletic motion there. Your right heel's coming up off the ground. You want to get totally up on the toe of that right foot. We want to be able to count the spikes in the shoe. Straighten out your left leg a little bit when you're done. Your hands are high. Maybe put the club back in behind you a little bit, but you've got a good motion definitely through to the finish. You could revise it or refine it just a little bit here. Overall, really good athletic ability. I like how your hands work. You bring your hands back, you fire your hands through. Your core's working well, so you're turning, you're uncoiling. You got pretty decent footwork that's allowing you to do that. You can refine that footwork through to the finish just a little bit more. Setup, need to refine the posture, balance, distance away from the ball just a little. Definitely with your backswing, we definitely need to learn how to create a little bit better forearm rotation, and definitely wrist hinge. That's very important. And then ideally, learning how to come into the ball from on plane, not that subtle over the top move that you're making, which is causing the club to come in a little steep and a little too far from the outside to inside, causing you to swing to the left. And then the other thing we see is that you end up sort of de-lofting the club, so the ball's leaving very, very low and to the left. Okay, but you got some good athletic qualities here. You know, just need to refine a few things, and everything be looking really, really good. So if at any point in time you would like to work on any of these things, I'm located out at Glen Abbey out in Oakville. Also, if you're involved with any committees for golf tournaments and you'd like to provide services like this for any of the events, I'd be happy to help you with that as well. So anyways, hope you had a great day. Hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video, and hope you enjoy the rest of your summer.